Hello there folks, welcome and welcome back to this Gnomes. Where is my... Yeah, so today we're gonna continue the building. Let's just me fix this. I don't need the video here, just want the window capture, display capture, no window capture here, just for Blender. And yes, okay, create new, come on here. Now yeah, I don't know why it is not configured. I think now it will work. Yes, so here it is. We don't need this all screen. Okay, so, and this, let's centralized. Sorry about this. We're gonna start in a moment. Stretch center vertically. There we go. And maybe a little up here. That seems good. All right. So, no soundtrack here, folks, sorry, but this is because I've just found out that, yeah, no good news, of course, for industrialization of stuff, artificial stuff like the headphones. Turns out that headphones, this plastic garbage, uh, headphones and headsets, all those things, their materials are contaminated with lots of horrid materials, which components are carcinogen and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, it only gets worse. So I can't even use my headphones now. I will not use anymore unless, because it's contact, right? Direct contact to the skin. So we're gonna skip that. Last time I tried, the problem is that if I play the soundtrack here, the microphone will affect. Yeah, so you see the horrid thing. Sound, my voice gets distorted, so nothing works. I hope my voice is not distorted right now, and you're so please, if you think my voice is bad, then send something in the chat so I can realize something is wrong. Right, okay. So for this deep building today, I'm gonna try to do as much as possible in maybe 1-2 hours. We have here a rigged model, Dorothy, but I'm changing her setup to simplify. So one thing that I believe I'm gonna do to make it, no, let's not touch this. So I'm just gonna touch the face, and for the face we want here to be able to have a sort of cartoony, more generic rig. I'm not sure if I'm gonna preserve the ears. It's more about the eyes. Yeah, it's more about the eyes and the nose shape. Yeah, so this is sort of free, so here it doesn't matter too much. I'm gonna try to do some variations here of the character design, just so it's not exactly the character, right? So another kind of character. And the eye, it's more important about the eyes, because feel free to get your own soundtrack in parallel, because this also it's a good thing not to have soundtrack for me, because that means more focus, right? Okay, so yeah, let's see here. Is this nose tip adequated? Maybe something like this. Okay, now for the mouth shape, I think I'm not gonna change the mouth, but what I'm gonna do is maybe no, let's keep this system, right? Maybe just exaggerate a little. So this is the shape key, which is called the lips anatomic shape key. So this means that we can use so the real lips, the binding pose state is this one, right? So it's as in many cartoony rigs, or it's locked. So this is the rest position. Yeah, the rest position for the mesh. Why it's not changing? What's going? Oh, of course, the base is here. Okay. Need to be very careful about these things. Just a small repositioning here is not too much important. As long as it's not, the idea here is to have a straight, very geometric melt shape. Yes, you can have some variations. My variation here is that I try to get the lips. See, we want this straighter. We see that it's not matching very much here, so we're gonna try to push this forward. And here we want this more straight. So I want to have the volume lips. So it's not just a line of lips. You see, this is the lip, outer lip. And of course, we could have more subdivisions even. But I'm working on the basis here. So the way I've organized this is that the shape key will shape the lips according to so you see this will form the anatomic shape of the lip even interiorly to some extent, right? I don't need the rest because usually this is not seen. It can cause some challenge, right? Difficulty in managing, but it depends. You can do whatever you want, but usually inner side, as the more we do, the worse it gets. Even some fellows, some artists that the guys of Goose Studio, I don't know their name. The guys that are doing some Blender implementation of anime-like NPR shading, stuff like that. A long time I don't see any news of these guys, but regarding that thing, I never see that done. There are some. It's probably very time consuming, but the thing is that they shared in one presentation last year a very interesting. It was last year, maybe, yeah, a very interesting, probably a Blender conference, some ideas about how they were doing the melt interior and something about, yeah, they're trying to make entire melt bag, melt interior and stuff, and they they were completely destroyed by the rigging of that for 3D animation because it's tricky, and so usually it's a horrible idea to do this. It's very complicated. Cartoony rigging, you have a wide variety of expressions, so exaggerated expressions, right? So it's very hard to get those things achieved properly. Then you start to have a lot of intersections, right? Interpenetrations between the melt bag and the face. It's horrible. So basically, that's why they gave some idea of not using that. So that's the thing here. We just want just enough so that we see the lips, but we don't need to see the volume here. That certainly there are lots of solutions, but for me now this is good enough because with this thing we can shape the anatomic lips here. Yeah, so I could also shape here if we want. So this is how the lips would look in the end. So we would like to maybe align some of these things. Yeah, the inner part is less relevant. It can be for me there's no big thing about perfection here because right, it is anything will work basically. The thing is that this mesh needs to be organized, not so much the shape key because it's not the shape key which responds to the skinning of the artifacts for armature deform, right? Deformation is the shape key doesn't do anything to the deformation. The deformation the shape key bypasses the deformation. So this is not the mesh shapes which will be deformed, but this one. And so once you have a regular shape like the basis, then we have, and so this proposition first time I've seen some rig that it was poorly explained, no in-depth explanation. The only guy that I know is that made it that talked really about this clearly or at least exposed it in a more didactic way was the guy from the Universal Sonic Melt rig. And so then this idea of having the simplified geometry. There another proposition that appeared last year about the almond shape for the mouth and for the eye hole. I'm gonna make for the eye hole, or the eye, whatever, because the almond shape apparently, these are other guys, others maybe from Blender Studio, I'm not sure. These other guys, they said that this would be well, it made sense maybe in some sort of mathematics perfectionism, but essentially is the idea that with the almond shape we have the corners sticking, like like not sticking inward. I mean, we have sharp corners like we have here. Like it's not an almond shape; it's straight shape, but then there is this joint here. So it's very difficult for rigging the expressions of the mouth with this sharp corners, and this is where maybe the almond shape, because then the angle augments, it's better for the deforms of the corner. But even in my rig of this character, I was pretty much able to do some variations of rounded corners, lips corners, even without corrective shape keys or for that. Yeah, so it was possible because I had helper bones for the lips corners or something, helper bones like detwister bones in here and here, and then a helper bone here that we can also control, so you can push it inward and outward. So like many mouth corrective shape keys for the mouth expressions, we can actually remake that, we can substitute them with helper bones, but it can get tricky. The more complicated, it's actually very easy when you get, it's not easy, it's time consuming, it's complicated, but it's like simple stuff. Where it gets complicated really is how to wave paint that and the mesh geometry, and if you have gonna use shape keys alongside of it. In my case, I'm not using shape keys for the corrective purpose. Well, I'm using the shape keys. Is another category of shape keys, is the anatomic, you see, lips anatomic shape keys, a category of shape keys. And so this will be a constant. It doesn't need to be one. It will never change. This is not a driven thing. It will, although we could animate this, but the idea is not animate this, is just to bypass the skinning algorithm, the skinning method, or methods, whatever. If you have more than one, just one armature modifier, sorry, then you get you can have the volume, the anatomy of the lips. It doesn't need to be this kind of yeah, it's very easy to have some. We need to, however, gotta make this good for this shape, neutral shape. So here, for example, I'll have to make these little fixes here. I was making some adjustments, so maybe here, yeah, because this is not the character design, so I can sort of distort these things, it's fine, or just smooth out in order to fix this sharp corners, everything that are, this mesh is kind of messed up in various ways. So here also it will be better that we disable the mirror modifier so that we could have an easier time handling. Done. We have a problem here with the chat. Okay, so this is much better to navigate. So now we can see. Yeah, so I have this clipping which is not helping at all. So let's change this view. This maybe I want even less, so I can get zoom in closer. Yeah, exactly what I need. So we're gonna reorganize some of these shapes, and the amount of geometry that we need here, it's arbitrary because my model here is low poly, relatively low poly, and so there is no need to, I have to close the part of the window. Maybe it's late night here. And maybe I was talking too loud, whatever. So here what we're gonna do is that we gonna just make some loops here better. We can also select a group of them and do everything as a whole. So this might be good enough. Like it's a generic, I'd like to make it good, but I don't have actually a reference to follow. So it's just a generic lips here, which should work, right? It's just more or less accurate. And so the thing is that character designs, they usually have especially this kind of character. So there, I think if we want the mouth close, the yeah, it will be essentially a mouth close. Let's just get something here. Okay, so maybe we could straighten it. No, it's straighten. It's straighten enough, right? So you see, you have this angle, and this angle in principle should match the angle of the object here if they are separated mesh objects, the arcades, top arcades, bottom arcades. Maybe you have even more. Maybe you have gums, maybe you have separate. I like to have the gums and teeth separated, but at least I like to have them top and bottom separate, the arcades, top and bottom. And then the tongue also a separated mesh object. I would prefer to have everything in one because I hate objects, but it's not very practical for rigging. It's easier to rig for me when it's separated. Yeah. Also for wave painting, it's everything is bad. Right? Rigging is a nightmare. But there are better approaches, I think, usually for many various organizations. So here it doesn't really matter those things. I think this is good enough. So we have more or less this alignment, right? More or less good alignment. You can stay forever trying to get the perfect alignment. It is a waste of time. The rig will work. The strategy will work if they are just good enough, right? And so you see that the distance are not the same exactly because they don't need to be the same. Usually the lower lip is bolder, right? More massive, have more volume than the top lip. I think at least in character designs we tend to do like that. So, and then so here the mesh is a little disrupted. Maybe we can just approximate some. I'm not sure, maybe it's a bad idea. Yeah, let's try to do this, and then let's smoothing here, and that should work. Maybe that part is a bit insane here. Let's try to, yeah, so this should be done in a real character design, not in this stupid base mesh. It's just a reference, right? So yeah, so this is a very tiny result. So the idea of the orientation, right? I don't have anything to map this, so it needs to be done visually. So the best thing to map this out could be a bone, or maybe the arcade object orientation. So usually I've been doing with the arcade. So here the lips anatomic shape key, they don't need to be straight because it will really be the shape of the lip that we want in the end. So this I can do anything I want here, really, because it doesn't matter. So here I can go very wild as long as the interpolation doesn't go crazy, right? This interpolation here. So in principle, this should be good enough, and you can approximate these ones. Maybe this GG. Maybe you can make with proportional editing. Maybe you can push this. Yeah, in principle, we are handling just the lips, not the rest of the mesh of the face. We could, but I want to keep this organized. Maybe here we're gonna, yeah, I don't want to use these ones, right? These ones will suffer some change, right? But yeah, so what we could do is I can just smooth this out here. I think, yeah, like you see what's happening here. So this was on purpose. I've pulled this edge loop here towards the center, towards the external part, so I have more mesh to manipulate, to adjust the volume, the anatomic shape here, which matters much more than what I have here. So this is just to keep the, yeah, so this very it's really not clean, but this just works, so we don't care. As I mentioned, we can even reset this to the basis. They are changing and making this shape key features better, but I think it's in Blender 5.1 and this is not yet the case. I'm still using Blender 5.0. I'm eager to get the next one. Not great updates, but very cool updates here and there, but nothing compared to the actual Blender 5 when it came out lately. That in my opinion was a very big update, positive update. So many cool things happening, but unfortunately for rigging and for 3D animation, it's not very thrilling. We might have to wait, like, in my opinion, of course. There are updates, of course, but it's like, considering what other software, CG software like Unreal Engine, for example, is doing, it is very, very bad. However, Blender is like, is lagging behind terribly. So what you can do, we can use this. So you see, we want, maybe we want this more straight from the basis. I'm not sure, so I'm gonna just try to do something like this. Of course, changing the basis will change the what happens in the shape key, right? Because it depends, the ladder depends on the basis anyways, right? So it's dangerous to be doing that. We can have to revise we might have to revise, I will revise, right? We might have to revise right, maybe now it's too bold, but here what we want is really to try to align the okay, something like this. And also we can get this and we can smooth out, and let's look from, okay, I think now this is good for generic. Let's see. Looks like we lost something here. So you see how complicated it gets, right? It's very hard to know exactly when it's good in terms of character design, at least in low poly like that, right? There are several questions which arise, but one serious question, of course, is not so much about the character design, just it's what will work for rigging. This is why we decide for rigging for 3D animation. This is why we decide to make, you see, from the front view, it's not straight. It's a happy mount because of the inclination of, right, this one. So of course the face from the top view, there's also an arcing thing. So you see here this muzzle shape, whatever. So it's that means that we but actually if we look from a certain angle like here, then we see it straight. So this is can be very confusing, but essentially it matters for this kind of furry cartoony character design. Okay, we're done with this. We can lock and enable it. I think this is fine. So if any time I want to change this again, we're gonna for the, and I think here I'm not gonna change the topology, right? What is this? Looks like that. This is a, no, this is just a proportional editing. Yeah, this is a gizmo, I think, or no, just a, okay, so now we go for the eyes, and this in here, I'm gonna use the almond shape. So the strategy that I have for the eyes, maybe I won't change the eyeball because the character design of the eyeball, yeah, what I could get is perhaps, maybe I could make this eyeball, nah, it's kind of good here. So you see, it extrapolates a lot because we want like to make sure that when the eye gets in various expressions, exaggerated expressions, the eye hole is big enough for the eyelid never scrolls, never slides beyond those limits, right? So there's a margin of error here, and this is actually connected, right? It can be separated, but there is no need to be separated because I can have because it's mirrored, we can actually have this part deform with this eye. Let's say if we want to control the whole eye and pose it differently than this one. This is ugly, it's bizarre, but yeah, maybe we want this for some camera view, I don't know. I saw in a rigger in Blender doing that, and okay, an eye controller, why not? Like the whole eye, and this system actually employs shrink wrapping. I don't know what's happening here though. Maybe we can connect this. What about, probably disconnected? Yeah, what I can do here is just pick everything and smooth. The reason it has so much subdivisions is because of the rig system that I use for the eyelids and the, yeah, the especially the eyelids is actually implies a shrink wrap modifier. It can be very complicated to set up this in a way that works, but I've been doing this for I've discovered one method. I made many use this, I think, but I use a system for advanced stylized big eyelashes, and then the eyelids is one problem, the eyelash is another problem. There are various ways to do this, but with the shrink wrapping, I say I have a lot of things here. I'm not sure what I'll keep here, but what we're gonna do is the following. Maybe I change the topology. Okay, I've already changed the topology of the eyes, right? So what I need here to do is that I'm gonna hardly change the shape of the eye. So for this, we're gonna get this mesh here, the eyelashes. I'm gonna hide all this, and I'm just gonna work with the eye, and we're gonna make a ugly character design. I did not. I'm gonna make a random something a bit weird, right? Because I want to share this model. So for the project that collaboration project that I'm making, this is why I'm debuilding this, and so we need models, base mesh, right, with rigs, sometimes skeletons, which can be shared, and then they can be used as templates for all sorts of rigging, elegant rigging structures that are effective and efficient, easy to build, cost efficient, the best so we can find collaborators. So if you're interested, by the way, there is a proposition on Blender Artist Forum, the jobs. It's a voluntary thing. It's just for the community, right? But and on Discord you can find me on some Blender servers, and then you can private message me. You can do also this from that thread in that Blender Artist Forum, and so then you can join if you're interested, because we're gonna share some techniques, advanced techniques of organic rigging, skinning. There is also an aspect to, and it will be something about the control rig, but this is not immediately. For now we are focusing on organic rigging. But I need to look for the annotations here. I don't want this annotation. We want, so we're gonna look here for an almond shape for the character design. This is not good. The Control Z doesn't work, so this is for this, which is a shame. So I'm gonna make a simpler eye. So yeah, let's yeah, maybe no, actually I'm gonna make slightly inclined, right, but not too much, not straight. It will be stupid, I think, for the, but something more or less like this. So this is the would be the eye hole, the base eye hole. So this will be part of an experiment that I want to do, never tried. I want to make an anatomic eye hole or eye shape key, right? So basically what that means is that I want to shape, I have the base mesh as an almond shape, as those guys they work with, the ones who presented in Blender thing, right? And then I'm gonna build a eye anatomic shape key, and that will be the one that whichever character design, in, well, theoretically it could work with many character designs. So I will adapt through the eye anatomic shape key the character design from model sheet or from memory here in 3D directly, doesn't matter. And then this will make that the base deforms, the base mesh for the skinning algorithm will be as an almond shape, something like that. And that will be possibly much better for, easier to rig. But because there is this the anatomic shape key, maybe we might have to take into account a different, so it's a bit tricky, right? But I'm used to that. So the skinning method will respond to this shape, not to the character design. The character design one will just appear on top of the deforms that happen to this. So there is a line of command, there is a hierarchy, an order of events. And so if I can express anything with this with this almond shape, which is more regular geometry, then this will probably be a good sign that the anatomic shape key will it's not perfect, right? But in principle this is a good sign. So if you can, of course this is slightly different from the mouth, because although in terms of mesh topology it's a hole, right? The eyelids, there's an opening here. The eye hole is not the opening. Actually, the opening is in the between the eyelids. It could be, but different. But no, I prefer to do this like this. The thing that is different here is that well, the eyelids are shrink wrapping, yeah. But this is like a melt in some sense, right? So it's just that it might not have as much variations as the melt, or the variations are more simple. They are curvy, straight. There's not a lot of crazy. Yeah, there would be, but the melt is cartoony melt, especially, is way more complicated than eyelids, at least when it comes to the line or how they are shaped. Yeah, in my understanding, of course, the whole eye is another story, because of the eyebrow, because of the upper cheek, the orbicularis oculi. So there are various layers of hierarchy to the eye. Anyway, so with this, we need to go back to the modeling here, and now I'm gonna just pick the mesh that I want to shape for this reference here. And at this point, it might be better that we have other views here, because it's 3D, right? Okay, this reference is not very useful, but I'm still gonna... Okay, why not change the whole thing, actually? Yeah, maybe we should do this. Yeah, let's shape this with everything that we've got here. So we're gonna expand here. Yeah, that seems... No, actually... Actually, let's expand more. I want the face, right? So something like that. Yeah. All right, and here we want this, right? Okay, so we can try to work from here. We want a lot of this. So this is a destructive process. I won't care about the shrink wrapping, the snapping here. I just want to find the shape here. So there is these seams in red, which help to visualize what is the beginning of the lids, the eyelids. Yeah, so they are here. So I want this thing here. Okay, actually, because I have the eye right beneath the eyeballs, right, then I can probably use the hold control to... The snap doesn't work very well with this, so I'm gonna do this later. Now let's just snap here. Let's see, snap to face, right? Yeah, snap to face. Or maybe even, yeah, include non-edited. Align rotation to face project, I think also works. But yeah, this is for the mesh versus this doesn't make too much sense. But yeah, okay, so here we are snapping. This is not the good way to snap. It goes nuts with the proportional editing, but at least for the vertex that I'm picking, that should work. Here apparently you got a mistake. I don't know what's happening. Oh no, it's just because this vertex... Okay, so I turned off the proportional editing because it was getting tricked. So I need to have a notion of volume. So the eyeball is actually is giving the curvature, right? Maybe it can be improved, but you see there will be a curvature for this. We can do it all at once. The problem is that I don't want to be picking... Okay, I know what, maybe we need to hide this. And yeah, we can snap this, right? I want to provide this system for cartoony eyes for the project because I think it can be improved, and I think it is valuable, and we'll see what it does. Okay, so here in principle, let's see if I snap. No, something horrible happens, so this is not a good idea. Maybe I'll have to hide this the eyelashes. So I work with the eyelashes later because they are too complicated, and I want to simplify them also for this product. Okay, so now it's easier. So what you can do is pick this, the seams help, right, for the selection. Also, let's get this screencast, maybe it's better. So now if I turn off the proportion, let's hold control and let's snap. Okay, so now we have this more or less snapped. Yeah, actually totally snapped to the curvature of the eyeball, but I need to fix this other mesh, right? So I'm trying to make the almond shape here. We're gonna snap one by one here, along the extremity, right? So it's just this edge loop here. So it's very important, of course, that the eyeball is correct, because if the eyeball is correct, so this seems to be the central one. No, there's no central one. Actually, this face loop is the central one. We could simplify this, but I don't want to change the topology. We can just say that the central here, the center of the almond shape is actually here. So we're just gonna, and the drawing is not helping too much at this point. It's a bit tilted. Okay, here I don't snap anymore because I don't want to snap this into the eye. The eye, only this mesh is snappable. Okay, and here we want straight. No, we don't. Yeah, it doesn't need to be straight, but it's good that it is. Let's say the neutral shape here is the straight one, straight expression, right? So that's fine. Then we could have with bendy bone splines, it's very easy to shape the eyelids the way we want, as long as we don't make a very complicated, as long as the mesh topology and the wave paint for the eyelids, which is a difficult topic, but it's pretty doable with this method. It's just a bit time consuming, and sometimes it has some surprise, so it's difficult to generalize everything, but it works. I've been doing this over and over again, so it works, and the results are pretty interesting when they work. And usually if we follow the steps, it should eventually work. It's just not super, it's time consuming, right? As you can see, there are a lot of management, there are a lot of little tricks that we need to take into account. Okay, so this should be the, no, this is not the side is actually this, and see it starts to go up. So here, this means that if I wanted to follow my drawing here, this should be a little more up, right? We can snap the whole thing, right? I don't know why. Oh yeah, I know what's going on. So this one is tricky. Align rotation to target. No, it's not that. Okay, so we just need to, in the end, whichever we change here for this eyelids mesh, we want it to snap back. So always snapping, either by hold control or having this, it doesn't matter. as long as we don't snap the wrong vertex. So these ones, they don't need to show on top because the snapping doesn't have the functionality. Snap base, closer, center, medium, active. Yeah, there's no distance as there is in grease pencil, for example. So this needs an update, a revamp, right? We need to add this to the snapping feature. Like, I think even the system for retopology, there's a feature that has distance. Just the snapping doesn't have distance, so this is poor. It needs the updates. That will make this thing much better, because then it's easier to visualize what we are doing, and not just visualize, actually is better for the, yeah, it gives a threshold of beyond already from the rest position, right? So it's less confusing. It should be less confusing. Okay, so here what we want is just to have those things aligned. So probably this is unsnapped, so just snap this back. We can snap from yeah, I need to be sure. Yeah, I think it doesn't snap on annotations, so I'm gonna delete the annotations. Anyways, it got its job. It was useful, right? So here apparently we got this, which is behind, so we're gonna, yeah, like it's behind. So to solve this, we can try to, okay, so the problem here is that we need to get, if I want to do this, I want to find an angle where I can entirely snap this correctly. So I don't know why this, oh, it was not snapping. Okay, so hold on. This time I'm gonna do like this. Okay, so apparently something is not working accordingly to what I expect. I don't know why it is not. Yeah, maybe it's a bug. It shouldn't be doing this. Never should be doing this. Maybe this vertex is, it's thinking it is behind. No. Or maybe it's this one. No. Okay, it seems that it has rotated the whole thing, so this is not good. It doesn't recognize the snap. Maybe when I moved, oh, I see what's, no, rotate, scale, move. Everything should be snapping here. Maybe maybe I need the face project then. Yeah, okay, so maybe it is this thing. Yeah, let's yeah, okay, now it works as expected. So see, these are stacking here, but actually they are aligned with the, so it was, sorry folks, no. You see, it's not trivial. Eventually it needs to be listed, or I need to be doing this over and over again. I wasn't doing this for a while, and now I just forget which was the correct operator. I thought that just the snap to face would work, but it's not good enough. So this one is the correct one. So now it's easy to get like everything here. It's G. It's just snapping correctly. Much easier now. This is the right way to do, right? The other way was pure garbage. So here we gonna organize this, and we want to yeah, keep snapping. Now I'm gonna unsnap this. So now let's see this front view. So for the upper cheek, Now I just want to have this, yeah, we're gonna, so what you need to be careful here is to hide this. No, actually hide the vertices of this thing, right? And then I can use the proportional editing from here, but this will not affect, so I can pose this anywhere. It won't affect this whole thing if I just smooth this out. It won't affect the mesh that was already snapped, because connected only, of course. And so that will smooth out to some extent, right? That's good enough. Now I want also, looks like, of course we lose the reference, so we're gonna do this again, but we're gonna go a bit stronger here with this organization. Let's try to pull this forward a little. Let's see, because I don't want to be editing this mesh because it's already snapped properly, right? So snapping doesn't work well with proportional editing. Maybe they will fix this at some time, but usually in my experience it doesn't work. So you have to choose either one or the other. And here, depending on the angle we are seeing, it can get the wrong idea. Also, this mesh behind, sometimes it could snap, so it's better to hide them. We want this mesh to be organized, right? We don't want irregular geometry, so in principle, we just, the eyelids mesh, we always want it to snap in the end to the eyeball. This one also we want the extremity of the eyelid. This whole mesh will be shrink wrapped. So this is the first thing. So we can do the eyelashes separated or not. So I'm gonna simplify my own rig here because I still think this will be better if I can, yeah, we need, okay, let's pick okay, I don't know what this is. Okay, this is one eyelid. This is probably the top eyelid. So in order to solve this thing, usually I have vertex groups for that, but we're gonna just select this thing here. This is part of the top eyelid, right? So we want to hide these vertices, and now we're just operating with the actual mesh of the eyelashes. But I'm gonna dissolve this, which doesn't work. So actually, why it's not working? Yeah, so it doesn't. Okay, I see. So we're gonna, what happens when we dissolve this? So this is how I used to do. I want to recover this strategy and see if I can, because it's simpler and it used to work. And then maybe something about how Blender works start to mess up my system, or I found out something that was, I don't know. So I want to clear out this doubt, so I need to retest the effectiveness of this method. So we want to reselect these eyelashes. It's low poly, but the less mesh we have to handle, the better, in my opinion. So here I want to clean this and this. Okay, so we have a triangular thing here, and maybe this is, maybe I can isolate this from, or reduce the amount of subdivision surface modifier. Okay, this probably will have to rework. Yes, I see what is wrong here. The idea here is to cut, we're gonna lose the waves, so maybe we'll have to redo this, but the idea here is to okay, so you see what's happening. We have a this this is edit. Yeah, it's a crease of 0.3. I just want also 0.3 crease here. As for these ones, they are all, we don't see because of the seam, but they are edge crease. Here is all the same. Okay, and here is the same for the whole body. Or no, there are some exceptions, especially for the vertex crease. So maybe we could have like a, this point here, we could have a vertex crease of I don't know, 0.3 for the subdivision surface modifier. Okay, so this is going nuts because of a shape key. Yeah, because we have an anatomic eyelash, so I haven't. Oh no, I was. No, I was. It was locked. I couldn't be editing locked stuff. Yeah, so I was on the base. So this one, I could just eliminate this stuff because we don't need. I'm gonna remove this. Okay, I know what's going on. It's because the strategy here, I forgot this detail, so it's a bit tricky here. Maybe it will be better in future Blender iterations. We also don't need this anymore. So the thing here is that for the anatomic eyelashes, what we want is that the base, no, not the base, we want the, yeah, we want the base to be stacking exactly on this vertex. So this is the tricky part. So basically, this is correct, but then the bases, I will have to move them there. The problem is that if I change the bases, I will probably destroy these ones. Let's make a test here. So it's very simple. This is just time consuming. So I move it there. No, actually, the bases, I move it there. And you see it moved here. So I just need to reposition it, right? So actually, it, yeah, there's certainly a way, a technical way to do this, like without trouble, but here I don't have time to revise. Probably I have noted this somewhere. Probably if we duplicate a backup here, yeah. So yeah, the important thing anyways is to, let's get everything back from the basis. So we don't touch the basis, and it's okay for, because I don't need to follow any character design here. I just need to, what's happening, yeah, is okay. We don't want this one. Probably we're gonna delete that, or just gonna edit this later. So see, we're stacking everything on their origin. So in this way, the skinning algorithm will understand that the eyelash, they would be exactly at those points, and so they will deform more in sync with the eyelids, the eye contour, right, for the top eyelid and the bottom eyelid. This for the eyelash, right? But now when we now is that I need to go to here, and we have already some job here, so we're gonna just reuse those things. I just cannot get confused with the vertex that I'm picking, and this can be tricky, of course, but apparently this is the correct vertex. Here we might have to try out, yeah, I think this is the wrong one. We could perhaps just pick the entire, yeah, here we go, entire edge. So now we got just the correct ones. So this is actually the eyelash anatomic. So this is the real, the rest position. No. This is the shape key, constant shape key that will be for the character design. So this is not for rigging. This is for matching the character design of the eyelashes with the neutral closed eyes. So something like this, possibly. So because this is not a very important, this is not a character design, this is a depletion of the character design, so it's not it doesn't really matter. I just wanted to have some harmony basically, but it doesn't need to be any strict. There's no model to follow besides some yeah, so maybe you want this to be pointing down, yeah, a little, because it's the because of the eye, because the eyes are closed, right? So here maybe this, and this is a sticking point here, sharp, and here we could also use this vertex crease 0.3. There we go. This maybe we can bring it here. We can augment the volume of this. Depending on the angle, we can understand better. And of course, in the end, we can just pick this, for example, and try to smooth. Yeah, we don't touch this one because this is already the mesh of the lid, the top eyelid. Yeah, so we don't want to mess up with this. All right, so then it doesn't look very good here, but it doesn't matter. Also, I think we can get everything here. There's a trick here. Vertex group. No, it's mesh, normals, reset vectors. Maybe we have some. Also, let's check the normals. Okay, so I think these normals are incorrect, or not incorrect, but I thought that I was starting to have a problem with a method here of camera view for rendering where because this is not a solidified mesh, it's a single mesh, but then it turns out invisible because of backface culling for the materials. Because this idea of using backface culling materials I never used before, I think, but I started to use for the mouth interior, so you don't need a mouth interior because the backface culling will just make it like black, transparent, then we maybe there are some strategy about that. And then the problem is that as soon as we start using that option of the backface culling material, then we can't decide which material will be affected by this. So this is generic, and so this started to cause problem for, and then we don't see, we see through from one of the sides. So this is why I'm considering, yeah, we're gonna flip this. So now it follows the eyelid mesh, and by doing this, maybe now this is the thing that I need to find. Perhaps it will imply a complete new solution. I don't know, but yeah, what I really don't want to do is to duplicate the mesh, because this will be twice mesh to handle in both directions. It will be a night. Maybe it's not that bad. It could actually solve another problem of how do you call it? Because in this rig I was using a, yeah, it's dangerous, but maybe it worth trying. But I had what is called a select face mesh. It's called the non-manifold. Yeah, I have manifold stuff here, which is considered terrible thing to have. It caused lots of problems, including shading, rigging sometimes. For rigging, this thing it was good, but now maybe. Okay, so the approach here that I want to try, there are two ways that I see. Okay, here is the thing. I had to reposition this. This is the non-manifold or manifold thing. Basically, this is it's the eyelids walls. And so this is so that we will never see the there'll always be walls for the eyelids. They won't be floating on top of the eyes. And maybe the problem is that they are being created from this thing. So maybe another from the eyelid. So this is the manifold, because you have this face, then you have this face, and we have this face. This is the error. It worked for me for a long time, but now I have this other problem, which is the back face culling. So maybe the problem is solidify as garbage. It will, so I can extrude it maybe from here. The problem is that this could cause some intersections, but maybe this is the best approach. No, I don't think is. If I could work with the solidify modifier without it causing wreak havoc in my shadings, then this could be a good substitution to this. I really need to not have this, because I feel like this negative face is a bad thing for, yeah, it will limit a very simple solution of the back face culling. So I want to change the setup here basically. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna separate this from here. Cannot rip face. All right, so we're gonna okay, the problem is I pick this stuff. I'm not sure what I'm gonna be ripping. I hope it's the right one. Okay, so looks like I'm ripping the wrong thing. Yeah, it's bad. So I don't know what I'm ripping, so it's a problem. So maybe I'm gonna separate. It's suffering from some. Okay, so we have this, we're gonna rejoin this. Probably it's been affected by some shape key, right? Yeah, but it's no needed. Um, yeah, so how to apply this is so annoying. So it's just these vertices here, we're gonna propagate to here, right? So propagate from blend from shape. No, this is easier. So we just pick this and we propagate this to everywhere. Yeah. Okay, this, there we go. So no, it didn't work. So how come this is not work? So maybe we need to do this, right? It's probably a bug. Okay, this was very dangerous. Okay. Um, it didn't work. So it's not propagating. I don't know why it is. Maybe I need. This is generic right now, so it's not. Okay, so I see. But yeah, this design that it's horrible, right? So let's go back here. No, I need to. Okay, so I can't go back, so we're gonna. Okay, so we're gonna do the basic, what I know, this vertex, blend from shape, blend from the basis without add, or maybe with add. And now no, it doesn't work. So we need to, maybe it needs to be 0, vertex, blend from shape, basis, and there you go. No. Okay, I don't know. This seems to be probably doing something wrong, but you see how horrible this thing is. Let's go back. I will just I can't fix the very basics. Oh, because I see the basis is wrong. That's why I was trying to do the opposite. Okay, so I need actually to propagate just for this mesh. I need to propagate from the, okay, it's the opposite. Not from base, but anatomic eyelash and add, no. Okay, but now this, okay, then let's propagate now, and it doesn't work. Okay, now it worked finally. So this is what I want to do. Then this is correct for the anatomic eyelashes and anatomic shape key. Now I need to do the same for the this, right? So first thing, we're gonna dissolve this because we don't want this stuff. And as we reach here, we want to have this diagonal might be just this one. There we go. So this will be the bottom one, and probably it's too big here, so just gonna reduce. And here, in order to compare, yeah, so we need this. So no proportional posing here. We also gonna flip this. So I have the same pattern here. I'll try to make them align somehow, but it's very attention, not touching this. Exactly. So just the extremity, right? Very simple low poly mesh here, and here I'm gonna save. Okay, so finally, so this is okay. We need also now to, this is just a glitch from the shading. It doesn't occur here. All right, so what I need here is to conclude the basis. This will be bad here. We'll have to, yeah, we have to, probably gonna rework on something here. We don't want to look at this. Looks like we got something wrong. This, I guess, its place is there. When we check for the interpolation of the shape key, we'll be certain if we did things right. Now they are escaping from my view, so I have to do this. Snap without looking what I'm snapping, but it was registered, right? There are two vertices even. Yeah, so I want this and this. And that should be it. Yeah, so now that we have this, we'll have to reposition. Oops, I think no, that's fine. It's just they are crossing here. So I just need to maybe pick everything here at once and move it down. Apparently we have, yeah, this one is here. I have to remanipulate this. There's probably a much better way, but I don't see. So this is the shape key for both anatomic eyelash anatomic, right? For top and down, top and bottom eyelashes. Okay, we save, and now this should be fine. or not. No, there's still, okay, there are still mistake here. Why this is happening? I think I was editing the wrong place. Yeah, so I need to bring this back from the basis. And I think the last one might be, there's two more. Yeah, this here and also this there. Okay, now when we get here, they get this place. Yeah, so here is what I need to be careful about. This is where I need to move. I moved from the bases, right? So I moved both of them, and that synchronized way, and that messed up everything. Now they are good, almost. There's one here. So you see, this technique seems to be very useful for certain face rig alternatives, right? Mouth rig for the lips, character design, while facilitating the skinning, making skinning less terrible for the mouth, which is, in my opinion, is the hardest feature to rig in facial rigging. Everything has its own complexity, but the mouth, especially highly expressive cartoon expression, this is super tough. If we try with skinning, right? If you try with armature deform, with shape keys we have some more, especially because shape keys they are now, especially now, they interact better with the looks like we have a problem with the bases here. It was not completed. This thing should be actually at this corner. It didn't work. Okay, so because we have this wrongly propagated thing. What is, yeah, I hate when this happens. So we have some vertices here which are mad, so sometimes that happens. When you change topology here, probably a stupid accident, you have to fix this. So this is actually propagate to shape. We're gonna go back to the basis. First I need to fix this okay, this seems to be a, I need this, they are stacking, so this is why this is hard to spot. I think it's this one. Yeah, this is the eyelash. So we're gonna just move it here, right? That's fixed. Okay, so now we're gonna pick all this. We're gonna yeah, we're gonna not propagate to shape, that could ruin our job. So we're gonna just use the vertex mesh. No, it's vertex blend from shape. So we're gonna blend from the basis without add. So yeah, so now the ellipse anatomic, just unless there's something in the body, I don't think so, but sometimes good to check. No, it seems to be fine. So it's just about this, and then it's good that we lock this at once to protect it. Yeah, What about this? This seems to be unified and correct. The glitch there, it doesn't matter. Okay, so this is solved. We can lock all this. And this is probably some more stuff that we might have to improve here. Just a question of smoothing out these things. Maybe here as well. Yeah, so I just don't want to change the geometry of this snapped thing on top of the eye ball, right? So that seems good. Now we don't like this, but that's okay. This is a temp. We can also smooth the face a little. Who knows, maybe do some readjustments here. It's very sharp, but that's fine. We don't have with the subdivision, its surface modifier is much better. Okay. So now if we go for the eyeball, we're gonna lock this. There's just this, right? There's no bone for it though right now, I think. The mirror, okay, so now we go for this. There are a lot of stuff here, but I want to simplify all this. This corrective smooth, I'm not sure we want this now. We want to deep complicate stuff, so subdivision we keep for facility. This is for just management. Mask face, what is this for? Proxy face hand, what is this? I don't know what this. We're gonna delete this. Shrink wrap muzzle, we're not using this now. So this stuff, I want to see if I can simplify all this. That would be great. So this is the, yeah, okay. Let's turn this off. Solidify line art. This is another setup that it was for something else. We don't want that. This method I'm gonna keep. Okay, shrink wrap eyelids. So there's a vertex group here, which is very important. So basically, this mesh will be shrink wrapped to the eye on a certain distance. So because the rest position of the mesh was exactly there, so there is just from the snapped position to here, for some reason there are, yeah, the subdivision, of course, no. Yeah, so we don't see very well the intersection here. Yeah, of course, it's because the eyeball has already is very subdivided, so it was applied. Apparently that works better for the performance. So that means that at the end it might be better to apply the subdivision surface modifier, which would be a nightmare for me, but maybe it's better for performance actually, at least for these proxy meshes. Like this is not a proxy mesh, but it's used for shrink as a shrink wrap target. It can stack the functionality in principle. Certain meshes cannot. So in this case we can. So this is why we need the subdivision for better so we get the right optimal. What's happening? Okay, we need to enable this, of course. Okay, so this is the correct thing, right? So now they match, right? This subdivided stuff procedurally with the subdivided eyeballs manual. So we won't touch the eyeball anymore for now. So okay, so now we see when it is enabled and disabled, it's easier to visualize, right? The subdivision surface modifier. So now what we want to do is, as we can see, there's a positioning here that of this which seems a bit incorrect, but this is because the eyelashes, they are not being affected by the shrink wrap. They need to be pushed forward, otherwise they lag behind. You'll see what that means. So you see that and if you don't push the eyelids mesh forward, then they might get intersecting with the eye. So this is why we need to do the pulling of the eyelids, but then we need another method for the eyelashes. So this would be this eyelash pull. So while this is outside surface, this is just outside. So it's just for the portions of the eyelashes which are getting too close to the right. So if we adapt the character design already to find these places, we don't need this thing. That is true. So maybe that would be slightly exaggerating this forward might be the best idea. So for example, maybe you'll have to use this, right? And maybe you have to use this. It's bad, right? It's dangerous to use this. We don't see but then we might see the final shape and conclude then eventually, okay, maybe I'll have to because this can also cause intersection, right? So the problem is that then we need to do this on the here, right? So this is convenient for other reasons, but it's annoying because I have you see, so maybe it's better not to have it. But there is one good thing about this is that if for some reason when we are posing the eyelashes, top or bottom eyelash or both, then posing the eyelids which pose them, they have a backup alternative, like we'll still be using this as a backup for the eyelash spurs. So the eyelash will never, at least certain parts of the eyelash, right? We'll see which are this. Yeah, so it's actually. Yeah, actually, it's all the eyelashes they are. And the reason they need to be in two different, one is outside and the other is outside surface, because we don't want to be able to pull the eyelids outside, so they are sliding always. They are locked to the eyeball surface. So this is why there are two of them. But here Here I don't remember why this was necessary, and eyelids border. This is another one. This is if I find a way to substitute this, then that, yeah, I see these walls there, so the mesh is still there, but we need to see if we can. So yeah, this mesh indeed. So we brutally separated them, but we don't want the non-manifold, so it is very bad. Okay, let's do the following. They don't need to be here, right? It's easy to connect, so let's move them away, right? For now, so they don't appear. What is this? Well, okay, I know why they are appearing. They are, of course, they have a target. They're vertices, right? So we need to confuse here. So I need to pick. We need to pick this. I need to check their waves for the shrink wrap eyelids. So we don't want this to shrink wrap, so I'm gonna just, yeah, there we go. So now they are not affected because we separated their vertices. The vertices were cloned, so they got those properties, right? The data, right? They got the vertex group data. And now they don't have it, okay? So now this is fine, but we have a hole there, which you cannot see because you'll have to see by object. Random, right? So this is not helping. I don't know why we are seeing the can it be that yeah, something, this, I lost the vertex group, but this is not it's not a problem. This one is easy to recover. It's just this and vertex group. Assign at maximum, yeah, just like this. There we go. So the mesh was hidden and still it was removed, even with the lock. So very crazy. Okay, now you see that it looks correct, but the, yeah, so yeah, so you see, we can see the hole there, and this is not very good, right? It, in certain angles it really looks ugly, so this is why I insist of making the that wall, right? So the alternative, one alternative, let's check this solidify, but it won't be sufficient because Even if we the solidify will solve one problem, which is the problem of the backface culling, right? But it won't solve the problem of this. So if I pick this whole thing and I try to extrude it backwards in some way, like I can probably delete this. Yeah, I'm gonna delete this. So here we're gonna go somewhat experimental. There are advantages to this and disadvantages. It's like a manual it's a manual. What's happening here? Of course, it's because when I extrude this, it is being pushed, right? Well, I don't know what's happening here. Yeah, it's because of the shape keys, right? I probably need to lock this. No. Maybe we can consider this interesting. Okay, maybe this is usable. I don't know what to do with these ones though. They also need to be extruded, right? They are just vertex though. Seems to have some asymmetry in the counting for each side, but I don't care this now. We're gonna go back here. Now that we got these ones, we're gonna extrude this backwards. Maybe more. And we'll have to use that thing, right? Maybe in between this, then reselect this, and scale like this, smooth, scale more. So what we're doing is that we're trying to shrink them to like make a ramp like something like this, right? So they'll prescribe a wall, eyelids walls. Of course, this is causing this because I think I still have something enabled. No, there are holes here that I haven't closed. So this is very messy, and I don't know exactly how I'm gonna solve that now because we have some parts here which are not good. Yeah, like I'd have to fill this whole thing Right now I don't know which mesh are these ones. Yeah, the topology here gets complicated because some stuff were eyelash, the others were eyelids, and here we don't have eyelash in this corner. So how are we gonna connect, right? It is very tricky. So we have this double thing, but okay, how the geometry goes with that. Easier if the mesh was not in that state, first of all, right? Yeah, so here experimentally this would be better if I had a simpler character design for that. I can't think now with all these things simultaneously. It's too tricky. And whichever I do here, we're gonna explode the other stuff. So it's the nightmares of rigging. This method, of course, why I didn't like this idea to start with, because with this extrusion, it would be likely that as the eyelash waves like up and down like this, there might end up having some intersection. Even if you rig this correctly, it's not safe enough to say that there will not be intersections, because it's very likely that it's a grand possibility. So it's just not worth it. So, but if I don't use it, okay, so this was right before I did all that, right? Thankfully I had a backup, and I think I've deleted the wall, right? So what we have now though is that we have this thing, right? I don't know if texture also react the same way to backface culling. I think it does, like it's just renders invisible anyways. So because it's so convenient to use this backface culling for the mouth interior, then here it becomes a nightmare because it had another setup, right? Let's try the solidify, which is much simpler in some regarding mesh, right? Because the idea is to have the least amount of mesh geometry to handle. So this is my strategy originally, and if I can keep to that, it will be great. So we're gonna use this, right, just as the, and we want the yeah, so we want to see what will happen if we bring up a solidify with as, yeah, we have to make a target here, and the target for, what is all that? I don't like this. So the target for solidify will have to yeah, so we want to yeah, so it's precisely it's not this that we want to solidify, is these ones, are these ones. Maybe these ones we solidify a little. Like, yeah, so for example, vertex group, we can add, we're gonna mod one thing. So eyelashes, yeah, that's it. So we're gonna assign this to that, actually 0.1, and then this is just the that might work. Yes, this might work, because if we order this to go the back side, yes, okay, this maybe there is, I don't know, because solidify is garbage. So we're gonna, not sure if it goes after, before. Let's try before, after. Yeah, not before subdivision. So I want negative, yes. And we want this one to have, yeah, that's for this one, we want the maximum here, yeah, the maximum. I don't know where is the vertex group. Here is the very end. Okay, this is, let's see what does it looks like. Yeah, so it does look like this, but the solidify is horrible. We need to change this. So basically thickness, maybe reduce here, and the target, of course, it's solidifying. Well, for some reason it's solidifying everything, I guess. So we just want this, and you see that okay, but I'm not sure what's happening. Yeah, it's not working, like it's solidifying everything for some reason. It's not respecting. See how problematic it is. So yeah, so I was aware of these problems. It doesn't seem to, okay, only rim, maybe this, no, still not. Yeah, it's solidifying everything. There's this heavy, make everything heavy. Maybe it's some inter, let's try this. No, still same problem. And it's very weird because I'm using this target vertex group, but it insists in, right, doing everything, right? So it's like yeah, so it's geometry nodes maybe, but then it will be another device, right? It will be less, it might be the best solution, because then you can order exact with more precision what to So see, this is why I don't use this here. So there's no, I don't know really now how would, maybe I have to dump the back face culling, or maybe there would be a way to bypass that problem. Maybe I need to research, right? Face culling per material, maybe not. We can see the result actually directly with here, right? And this will be what we'll see, or actually what we'll not see, right? Suddenly the eyelash disappears. I'm seeing the bottom eyelash, but now I'm not seeing the bottom eyelash anymore. And here, as for the mouth, yeah, everything vanishes. So this could be useful if we have ways to make it dark, right? So don't have to care about mouth interior, mouth bags, which are horrible, right? Clipping between arcades, tongue, and whatever. Yeah, so maybe I need to see how some other folks are doing, but for now, let's ignore the back face culling thing. I believe they could come with a workaround. Maybe I need to ask update, right? Feature request, right? Making this back face culling per material, that would be ideal, right? But as for now, we can say that let's preserve the yeah, let's preserve these things. Did I create geometry here? If I did, this still working, so we don't care. All right, so this is all that I want to keep. So the character design didn't change much actually, yeah, but which is unfortunate. I expected better, but that's fine. That's fine for the project. That will be fine. So I'm just gonna make some adjustments here. Usually it's strange, but from the front view, actually we wanted the upper cheek to be a bit on top of over the eye, right? At least in my experience with this kind of character design. Then, all right, what is happening here? Yeah, this what's happening here is that this thing needs to be, it needs to protrude here. It's here, yeah. And yeah, we can always, as long as I'm not picking the, yeah, this one, the snapped faces, this is good, yeah. There's some trigons, but you know, it is not a problem. It's very smooth. Okay, so this is one of the big topics I guess. So I'm gonna leave it like that. The only thing that I'm gonna do though is I want to solve this I want to change the color here so that we see more clearly what is what, right? So we're gonna get like I don't have any matter, so just gonna make very basic stuff like preview. Oh, what's happening? It's material, right? Texture. Okay, so we have this. Okay, let's pick this color like and then we're gonna make another for eyeballs. So this one or sclera, yeah, eyeballs. Okay, so this is good enough. Now we're back to the skeleton, right? So here we'll have to return here another day. So what are the things that needs to improve? So I was considering that I have to adjust the face. It is adjusted. The boobs, the breast, I decided to keep as this is fine because with everything I change here, then if I want to reverse some developments from the collab back to my character, then it will be easier if the mesh. So I'm not even touching. So just touch the face, which is an exception. Remove the hair and lots of other features of the face for now. Proportions body, no, we don't care. Then there is asset browser. I think we shift F1. Yeah, this is recalling some stuff, but this won't go alongside because the library is a folder. So I think it doesn't really matter. To-do list, yeah, so there's a to-do list that might be important. So there is a plan, so it is empty here, there is nothing. So we're gonna create like notes. So here what we're gonna do is that we want to add here this is just for me, but in principle we want the when the file is shared, I don't want this to be bugging the users and myself, so just gonna check that. Then blend file out, liner links. I think I've solved all this already. System console, yes, we might have some problem with this stuff. lot of errors. Okay, I'm not gonna check this now, but gonna check this next time I open Blender for this. Then deform rig waves. Yeah, so vertex groups cleanup. Then there is also deform rig waves. I can't read what I wrote here. Check bone manager. Restore basic control rig. Yeah, so yeah, check, yeah, revise the depth skeleton base wave thread. Then solve basic control rig in relation to target rig. Yeah, this is tricky. There are many ways to do this, and because I want to make the best simplest solution here that works for very basic posing, that I need to revise this in a way that won't confuse anyone nor myself. Because when you have a helper rig system, there are relationships with the control rig and the mechanism rig. In this case I'm calling it target rig, which are very tricky depending on the bone constraints. Whatever you use, certain features don't get automated by posing the control rig the way we expect, and then this can be turned into a very big nightmare. It has to do with the transforms pathways, very tricky concept and area that is very seldom explained or addressed by anyone doing tutorials these days, on since always on YouTube at least. And I came up with that problem, and now I know why certain things lack happening, and Blender doesn't have a system that provide like a tracking of which kind of transforms from parenting relation for bone constraints are happening in bone. So this is super confusing. It's analog, or it's maybe similar even to the problem when we are looking at transforms in the tabs here, and but we the bone is moving but the transforms or the coordinates are not, and such kind of things, right? On the And so this can lead to a lot of confusion and unpleasant experience in rigging and also animation, but usually it's a rigging problem. And then this is also related to the pathway, but Blender doesn't give proper information, clear information about those pathways and hierarchy of what. So this is something that is sort of need of improvements. Okay, then besides that, there would be, for me, fix the system. What is the for now, right? Fix the fan bones setup, and revise the what is the other one? Is the leverage system setup. Yeah, it's both of them are helper rig system. There are a few others, but this is the essentials. So these are related. They form stuff. This is now that the face rig is simplified. Yeah, mostly deleted, very removed. Verify, no, verify as a browser. Okay, so these are what is lacking. And here are the, by the way, so here we have so this is the one of the leverage systems. It's already in place, but it's the deforms are needs a lot of fixing, right? But it's certainly not completed, right? It was experimental, but it turns out that this works. Here also we are accumulating this alongside the fan system. There's no fanny bones here surrounding because I tried to avoid deltas, so we're trying to. Most of these are working, right? At least for the leg, the arm, the fan bones here, I think they are okay. We need to conclude the control rig here because I cannot pose the things properly, right? But these bones are not the systems here. This are not being activated. So I need to conclude this also. Okay, so and some things here are incoherent, so we're gonna have to address all this stuff. All right, fellas, thanks for watching. And sorry, we haven't upgraded too much, but this takes a lot of time apparently, and but hope tomorrow I'll be able to, if not complete, almost complete this. I'm doing this slowly. I don't have time during the week too much now, unfortunately, but we're gonna try to achieve that. Thanks for watching. Take care. Happy blendering. See you another time.